We're now joined by Todd Belt. He's a professor and director of the political management program at George Washington University. Todd, why don't we start there? Because Karina makes a really good point. You've got a lot of voters who went with Donald Trump. And we heard some of these themes last night in the address from Biden where he said, you know, we're opponents, but we're not enemies. But healing the nation is going to be a big part of what he has to do, correct?
It absolutely is. I think that is really the number one task other than the economy and the coronavirus. Our nation is deeply, deeply divided. I mean, if you look at how many votes President Trump got, I mean, he really ran up totals 5 million more than, and we're still counting, than he did in 2016. So a lot more people came out to vote for him. The divisions are there, not just in the public and public opinion and the hyper-partisanship, but the divisions look like they're going to be there in Congress, with Senate probably controlled by the Republicans and the House controlled by the Democrats. So I think that President-elect Biden might consider nominating some Republicans to his cabinet as an effort to do a little bit of a peace offering.
I've heard from some Republicans here in town, though, that in some respects, and I want to get your thoughts on this, they kind of are looking forward to a Biden administration because there'll be some predictability. I mean, they may not agree with all of his points of view, but that he's a deal maker. He was in the Senate. He knows how to cut deals, whereas with the White House, you weren't quite sure where they were going. 1 minute it might be one way, the other way, and maybe 20 minutes later. What's your sense about that?
Well, that's exactly right. Let's remember Joe Biden during the Obama administration was what was called the McConnell whisperer, right? He had such great relationship with Senator McConnell that he was able to, broker those deals such as Obamacare, as well as some other, even though the Republicans didn't vote for Obamacare, but they weren't able to stand in this way, and other issues such as the stimulus bill back, the ARRA back in when Obama first came into office in 2009. So Biden does have those skills. He knows those people in the Senate. He knows how the Senate works. And if there is one chamber that would be controlled by the other party that he'd be able to work, it would be that one.
Let's talk about the two T's, tradition and transition, because this country has a tradition. A new leader comes in. It's a peaceful transfer of power. The transition usually goes smoothly. The losing side may not be very happy about it, but things generally go well. There's a lot of questions about whether or not that's going to be the case this time around. What's your thought on that?
Well, fortunately, with the transition, this happens well in advance. The transition team, which is a nonpartisan group, meets with the members of both candidates well before and discusses the roles of what they're going to need to do. They meet with the members of the incumbent administration so that everything can move smoothly between the administration and whichever campaign actually wins. So this is done in advance, and I'm told by some of the insiders who've been involved with that, this is the one thing that's actually really gone smoothly in the presidential administration, that the people who are in government have been taking this very seriously. It is really a matter of national security to make sure that we do have this smooth transition.
Let me ask you one more question before we let you go, and that is projecting a winner. It seemed like it took forever. There were a lot of people questioning why Nevada didn't end up in the win column for Biden last night, as well as Pennsylvania. And as you know, there are supporters of the President of the United States who don't believe in science, and in many cases we're starting not to believe in math. Do you think, what do you make of that, and do you think that may have exacerbated a lot of the tensions? Because we saw protesters in Arizona and other places, and some people who were counting the votes who were actually quite nervous about things.
Yeah, it's really amazing the sort of cult of personality that this president has, that he has been able to say things and tweet things, and his followers believe it lock, stock, and barrel. The whole idea that these were not valid votes and all that sort of thing. That's something that I don't know if that's going to be going away soon, but maybe it's just wrapped up in the president. Maybe we'll have more of a return to normalcy. These are things that Republicans or Democrats have never done before, and perhaps that's just wrapped up in that one individual, and we'll be able to get back to where things were.
Todd Belt, thanks so much for your analysis. Appreciate it.
Thank you. My pleasure.